Welcome back. You're watching our rolling coverage of the Union Budget 2024. I'm being joined by Mr. Rajiv Gupta, President of PB Fintech Limited, with us on the broadcast. Mr. Gupta, you've heard, I'm sure, the budget speech. I want to begin, before we get into some specifics, I want to understand from you, what are your first thoughts on the budget?
So my first thoughts are very clear. I think the government's initiative towards, promoting Viksit Bharat in terms of announcing a specific budget for creating more employment, a specific budget for creating more skilled workforce is certainly a welcome move. The reduction in fiscal deficit target will certainly help, the country with more financial discipline. So a lot of plethora of benefits announced, by the FM today, which will certainly benefit the economy.
Okay. Mr. Gupta, I just want to understand from you, when we talk about skilled workforce, okay, in the past few months itself, we have seen several pieces of news trickling in of there being, just 40 to 50 job openings and thousands of people going to apply for those jobs. When we talk about creating skilled employees in India, what is the expectation of the corporate sector, of the job makers? What are we expecting in the next generation of workers, and how is it that the government should then actually be spending that money? Because every year I've been seeing that we make announcements regarding lakhs of crores of rupees that are going towards a Skill India initiative. But as far as the workforce is concerned, there continue to be complaints from the job providers that this is not the sort of skill set that we are seeking. How do you wish to bridge that gap between the money and the outlay that is, being spent by the union government, but at the same time having young, skilled workforce in India?
So let me explain this. I think you are absolutely right. There is a gap which needs to be addressed. Announcing a specific... Sorry. Yes,
pardon me, sir. Sorry. We were expecting the Prime Minister. Yes, we were expecting... Yeah, okay, all right. Mr. Gupta, hold on with us. Prime Minister.
विकास की नई ऊंचाई.
All right. So that was, of course, Prime Minister Modi there sharing his thoughts on the budget and highlighting what really have been the crucial aspects of this budget as per the government. We still have with us Mr. Rajiv Gupta, President of PB Fintech. Mr. Gupta, before we went into that segue with the Prime Minister, I had asked you a very specific question about what really will be the requirements of India's job makers then as far as skilling our youth is concerned. What are your thoughts on the same? Because a very crucial theme of this budget has been on youth and skill development. So how do you feel that the money should actually be spent? Because lakhs of crores, like I said, every year are being put into skilling the youth, but job makers continue to complain about how the youth today, or those who are entering the job market, do not possess the skills that are required in the sort of jobs that are out there today. What are your thoughts?
So I was just trying to explain that to you earlier, but I was also listening to the PM. I think he spoke about skilling in depth. So basically today, I think you are right, absolutely. On one side, the corporates are finding it difficult to get skilled manpower. And on the other side, the government is facing challenges to address the issue of unemployment, So I have been interacting with the various state governments and central government in the past. My personal view is it has to be a private-public partnership in which we reach out to tier 2, tier 3 cities, partner with colleges through the government, run co-curriculum programs along with corporates, so that those co-curriculum programs, in addition to their graduation course, will help them to become more employable than as of today when they just pass out and come out and find themselves unemployed. That way, the utilization of the budget, the utilization of the money allotted for this purpose would get better utilized. So I'm not limiting this to only the industry which I represent. I think this is a challenge across industries. So I think organizations like Assocham, will have to work with the government. The Ministry of Skill Department will have to identify large corporates, large industries which employ a large number of people, understand the requirement there, and help them to reach out to colleges in tier 2, tier 3 cities where employment opportunities are virtually nil. I think in this way we'll be able to utilize the budget effectively and at the same time solve the problem of unemployment to the large extent.
Mr. Gupta, at the same time, very interesting announcement there made by the government as far as internships are also concerned. They're saying that why don't you use your CSR budget to fund a portion of what an intern should get, and the rest will be taken care of by the government. A lot of times we've seen, as you mentioned, tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. A lot of times we see that youth in tier 2, tier 3 cities are not able to even afford internships because they need to perhaps move to a town nearby or a city nearby, and they're not able to really keep up with the expenses, which results in so many of them graduating from college but not utilizing any time in those 3 to 4 years of college to actually come intern in cities, understand what really is required for a specific field that they may be wanting to venture into. Do you feel that this internship scheme that has been announced by the government could solve India's employment crisis?
I would 100% agree on that, because today when you are graduating, you are only focusing on your academics and your only aim is to pass out and get a degree, But somewhere it's important for people to realize that if they utilize their available time while studying to also, participate in internship programs of corporates, and with government announcing a specific budget and allowing corporates to use CSR to also support those people who come from out of station, to work with various organizations, is certainly a welcome move. In my view, over the next 3 or 4 years when a person is graduating, if he has done a couple of internship programs and also participates in a co-curriculum program which I just explained a little while ago,
yes,
I feel to a large extent we'll be able to create employment in this tier 2, tier 3 cities.
Absolutely. At the same time, Mr. Gupta, what are your thoughts or the government also wanted to create further employment opportunities for women? How crucial do you feel that will be?
I think extremely crucial. We all speak about inclusion, and we all look at number of women employed in various organizations. While the number is improving, but I think it's much below our counterparts across the Western world, right? I mean, today in the metros, you still find a lot of women working and, earning, and that percentage is slowly increasing. But the bigger challenge is how do we take women right up to the top, I mean, you have a lot of women today employed in middle management. Some organizations also have a number of people employed in senior management. But unless you encourage women and support them in various phases of their life to be able to grow to the leadership level, then you really cannot build the leadership team which you require. Now you go back to again smaller towns. I don't think large number of women even think of working. That is still considered a stigma. I think at the end of the day, a lot of good women are skilled enough to support corporates in tier 2, tier 3 towns to promote their products. Let me give you one example. I know of a BFSI company which lends money in only rural markets, and they have created self-help groups of women who promote their products within the same village or taluka, and thereby ensuring that the financial literacy in terms of borrowing from the right places and not getting fleeced by money lenders is addressed.
Okay, Mr. Gupta, before we let you go and bring in some of our other panelists as well, I just want to understand from you another crucial announcement that has been made by the finance minister is cutting off the corporate tax rate for foreign companies from 40% to 35%. Do you feel that this 5% cut in the taxes is significant enough to bring in the sort of FDI that the government is looking for?
I think so. I think we're all looking at more and more players coming into this country, right? Now we're all waiting for the new Insurance Act to come in, and we are hoping that this country will also be able to attract a lot more insurance players into this country, you know. And insurance is a long-term business.
Yes.
You don't make profits, you know, in many years to come. So I think any tax incentive, any support from the government to encourage these players to come is certainly a welcome move, ma'am. You know?
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rajiv Gupta, for joining us on the broadcast. I also have with me Pradeep Shetty, President of the FHRAI, and we also have with us Mr. Sunil Shanghai, Chair of FICCI Committee on Capital Markets and founder and CEO of Nova One Capital Private Limited. Let me begin with Mr. Pradeep Shetty, President of FHRAI. Mr. Shetty, what are your first